Nancy Pelosi and House Democrat leaders have finally revealed the official Phase 4 stimulus bill program in the House of Representatives, and this thing is staggering. They are calling it the HEROES Act. It is 1,815 pages long and coming in at nearly $3 trillion. It is loaded with stuff. So on this episode, I want to go through everything that I know that is in there, and I especially want to talk to you about the direct payments to Americans, because are they in there? Yes, they are. More direct payments to Americans. Now remember, this is not passed yet. It's not been signed into law, but this is the first really truly official proposal. Not like some of those other $2,000 a month proposals. This one is a lot more official. So let's go ahead and go through it. First off, like I said, it's coming in at nearly $3 trillion. The biggest portion of the funding in this bill is $1 trillion for state and local governments. This is a big deal. A lot of the governors and mayors have been calling for help and funding. There was reports over the last week or two that it could be $650 billion, $800 billion. It's $1 trillion for local governments, and that's the biggest number in this bill. There is $200 billion in a fund for essential worker hazard pay. How that's going to be distributed, you have to comb through this thing to figure it out. Like I said, this is a big bill, so combing through everything, a lot of people are doing that right now. $75 billion is slated for COVID-19 testing. And looking at the direct payments to Americans based off of the CARES Act 1 that we saw, it looks like the direct payments to Americans is going to be expanded a little bit, and that means the price tag is going to be expanded. So about $500 billion slated for more direct payments to Americans, and I'm going to get in a little bit more detail about what that looks like in just a second. It's also going to extend student loan forgiveness for another year, and they put in the bill a $10,000 student loan cancellation within 30 days of the bill passing. That's a lot of it. That's not everything. But they did put more direct payments to Americans in this bill, and this is what it looks like. It's fairly similar to the CARES Act, but it's expanded a little bit. So $1,200 per person. If you're a single filer, you get $1,200. If you're a non-filer, you get $1,200. $2,400 for joint filers, which is very similar to the CARES Act. However, they upped the children payout to now $1,200 per child, up to 3 children, which means a household could actually get $6,000 out of this bill. One of the big things is, are dependents included now, adult dependents? Everything I'm looking at right now and looking at the bill itself and doing a little bit of research, it looks like adult dependents are now included in this bill. Also SSA, SSDI, SSI, RRB, and survivors all included in this bill. So it's been expanded upon a little bit here. Now, not too much. So it's not multiple monthly payments. It's just, it looks like it's just another one-time payment like the last one we got. It also has more protection from your money being seized. So a lot of people had their money seized. It's stating in the bill itself that the money shall not be subject to transfer, assignment, execution, levy, attachment, garnishment, or other legal processes, or the operation of any bankruptcy or any insolvency law to the same extent under Section 207 of the Social Security Act. So basically, nobody can take this money away from you. So they expanded the direct payments to Americans, but it is still a one-time payment to Americans, not a month-to-month sort of a deal. Now, one thing that does surprise me about the direct payments to Americans is how small it actually is. Now, granted, $1,200 per person is a decent amount. And I'm not saying that I would expect more personally. I'm just surprised that Nancy Pelosi and Democratic leaders didn't go with something a little bit bigger and more grand than another one-time payment. Maybe something like multiple months, 2 or 3 months in a row, because they know that this bill is not going to be passed as written. Usually you submit it, it gets whittled away and things get taken out. So you might want to go in with something a little bigger, and then when it gets taken out, you end up getting a little bit more of what you wanted. But if you're only going in with another one-time payment, and if that thing gets whittled down a little bit, you might not end up with that much. So I was a little surprised that it was only another one-time payment and not maybe 2 months or 3 months, multi-month in a row. Little surprising, not too much. They went a little conservative with the direct payments to Americans. The other big thing is, how is the opposition reacting to this? In general, the Republican leadership. So we know this. Senator John Cornyn today said, and he reiterated, that he believes there is no urgency on passing another coronavirus relief bill. And we have been reporting that on this channel. They are going to go with there's no urgency. We're negotiating. That is going to be their talking points. We want to wait and see. And I think that's how Republicans are going to react to this. When asked if the Senate will likely wait until Memorial Day, he's basically saying, yes, they're going to wait until after Memorial Day. There's no urgency. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham said the bill is dead on arrival in the Senate. So if it comes into the Senate looking like it is now and it doesn't get revised, he's saying dead on arrival. Also, that will not pass. It is not going to be supported. Senator John Barrasso, who is a member of the chamber in the Republican leadership. So we know for a fact, even though this bill is massive, it's huge, it's got more direct payments to Americans, it is not going to stand as written. The Republican leadership is going to come against this thing. We will continue to keep you up to date on this. This thing is loaded, and so there's really too much to go through for me to report everything that's in this. A lot is going to start to come to the light in the next couple of days. We're going to see more reactions from President Trump, which is going to be really interesting. More reactions from Republican leadership, other reactions from Lindsey Graham. And so we want to keep our eyes on these things. So if you're interested in that, consider subscribing to the channel, turning on the notifications. We will keep you up to date as everything unfolds.